Victoria Adam stepped out of her shiny black car in front of her fashion store. Her red designer dress cost more than most people in Lagos made in a year. "Hurry up, Zara," Victoria called to her teenage daughter. "I don't have all day." Zara climbed out slowly, dreading another day at her mother's store, where workers always looked scared. As Victoria walked towards the entrance, someone bumped into her from behind. Victoria felt her hand touch her dress and spun around, already angry. "Watch where you are going," she shouted. An old woman stood there in torn, dirty clothes. Her eyes were cloudy white, and she held a wooden walking stick. "I'm sorry," the blind woman said softly. "I didn't see you here." Victoria's face twisted with disgust. "Look at you. You are so filthy. You've ruined my new dress." People stopped to watch as a crowd formed outside the fancy store. "Mom, please," whispered Zara, rushing up. She didn't mean it. Victoria ignored her daughter. "Security!" she yelled. A guard came running from the entrance. "Yes, Mrs. Adams, remove this trash from my property right now." Victoria pointed at the blind woman. The blind woman, whose name was Grace, stood very still. Though her clothes were torn and dirty, she held her head high. "Wait," Victoria said, digging into her designer purse. She pulled out money and threw it on the ground. "Here is what you came for, right? Now pick it up like the beggar you are and never touch me again." People gasped. Some took out phones to record the scene. "Mom!" Zara cried, her face red with shame. "Stop it!" Grace didn't bend down for the money. "I didn't come for money, ma'am. I was just passing by." "Get her out of here," Victoria told the guard. She turned and walked into her store without looking back. The guard gently touched Grace's arm. "Come, mother. I will help you to a safer place." As Grace was led away, a street vendor named Thomas watched from his fruit stand across the street, shaking his head in disgust. Zara ran after Grace, clutching the money her mother had thrown. "Ma'am, wait," she called. "Please take this, and I'm so sorry about what happened." Grace turned her face towards Zara's voice. "Child, your voice sounds kind. You are not like her." "She's my mother," Zara admitted. "But I don't understand why she acts like that." Grace folded the money and handed it back. "Keep it. Money given without kindness brings no blessing." Thomas approached them, carrying oranges. "Grace, are you okay? I saw what happened." "You know each other?" Zara asked. Thomas nodded. "Grace sings near my fruit stand sometimes. She has the voice of an angel." "I used to be a music teacher," Grace explained. "Now, I seem to remind myself of better days." "Let me walk you to your post," Thomas offered, taking Grace's arm. "Can I come too?" Zara asked suddenly. "I want to hear you sing." As they walked, Victoria watched from her store window, her face hard with anger. That evening, in her massive mansion, Victoria paced the marble floor. "You embarrassed me today, Zara," she said coldly. "I embarrassed you?" Zara asked in disbelief. "Mom, you threw money at a blind woman." "Don't raise your voice at me," Victoria warned. "That woman was trespassing." "She was just walking by, Mom," Zara argued. "And she has a name. Her name is Grace." Victoria stopped pacing. "You talked to her?" "Yes," Zara said defiantly. "She's a former music teacher. She's kind and gentle. Everything that..." She stopped herself. "Everything that I am not?" Victoria finished, her voice dangerously quiet. "Be careful, Zara. You have no idea what I've been through to give you this life." Zara looked around at the huge room with its crystal chandelier. "Maybe I don't want this life if it means treating people like trash." Victoria's hand trembled slightly. "Go to your room now. We are done talking." After Zara left, Victoria opened a hidden cabinet behind a painting. Inside were expensive medications for her rare blood condition. She swallowed 2 pills with water. "You are looking pale, ma'am," said Martha, the housekeeper who had worked for Victoria for 15 years. "I'm fine," Victoria snapped, "just tired." The Bombay blood phenotype is nothing to ignore, Martha said quietly. I remember when you were first diagnosed, the doctors were shocked to find someone with such a rare blood type. I know, right? Less than one in 250,000 people, Victoria said bitterly, and special even in my blood. The next morning, Zara skipped school. She found her way back to where she had met Grace. Thomas was settling up his fruit stand. Hello, Zara said. I'm looking for Grace, the blind woman from yesterday. Thomas looked at her expensive clothes. Aren't you supposed to be in school, rich girl? Please, Zara said. I just want to make sure she's okay. Thomas studied her face. Grace sits by the church down the street. After 10 o'clock, she sings for coin. Zara found Grace sitting on a bench near a small church, singing softly. Her voice was beautiful, clear and strong despite her age. Grace, Zara said, approaching slowly. Grace stopped singing. Is that the kind woman from yesterday? Yes. It's Zara. I brought you some mangoes. Grace smiled. Sit with me, child. Why aren't you in school? I wanted to check on you, Zara admitted, sitting down. She placed a mango in Grace's hand. As they talked, Zara noticed a small faded necklace, a golden treble clef, hanging low on Grace's neck. What a beautiful necklace, Zara said. Grace's finger reached up to touch it. This was a gift from my husband. When I got my first teaching job, she said. I kept it always, even when I had nothing else. Zara learned that Grace lived in a small room she rented at the back of the church. The priest let her stay cheaply because she helped with the children's choir. You said you were a music teacher, Zara asked. Grace nodded. Many years ago, I taught at the Lagos Academy of Music until... Her voice trailed off. Until what? Grace reached into her bag and pulled out a worn photograph. Until my life changed forever. The photo showed a young woman, beautiful, Grace holding a baby. Around her neck was the same treble clef necklace, newer and shinier. Behind her stood a handsome man with a kind face. Who are they? Zara asked. My husband, Joseph, and our daughter, Grace said, her fingers tracing the faces she couldn't see. Joseph died when our daughter was just a baby. After that, everything fell apart. What happened to your daughter? Zara asked quietly. Grace's blind eyes filled with tears. I had to give her up. No job, no home after my husband died. I left her with a wealthy family in Ikoyi, thinking I could come back when things got better. But then I had an accident, lost my sight. By the time I recovered months later, they had moved away with her. What's her name? Zara asked, her heart beating faster. Victoria, Grace said. Victoria Grace Okafor. I've spent 40 years searching for her. Zara nearly dropped the mango. Her mother's full name was Victoria Grace Adam. When was she born? Zara asked, trying to keep her voice steady. April 18th, Grace answered. She should be 45 now. Do you have any other pictures? Zara asked. Grace shook her head. Just this one. Everything else was lost in the flood 20 years ago. That evening, Zara watched her mother at the dinner. Victoria ate her food in small, precise bites, barely speaking. Mom, Zara said suddenly, when is your birthday again? Victoria looked up, surprised. April 18, why? Just wondering, Zara asked, trying to sound casual. And you were adopted, right? Victoria put down her fork with a sharp click against the plate. Who told you that? I heard you and Auntie Lola talking once, Zara lied. Victoria's face hardened. That was private family business. Yes, I was adopted by the Adams family when I was 5 years old. My birth mother abandoned me on their doorstep like unwanted trash. Maybe she had other reasons, Zara suggested carefully. Victoria stood up from the table. There is never a reason good enough to abandon your child. That woman left me with nothing but my name. She didn't even have the decency to face the people she was dumping me on. Your name? You kept your birth name? Of course I did, Victoria Grace said. The only thing my birth mother gave me that I couldn't throw away. She left the dining room without finishing her dinner. What Zara didn't know was that someone else was watching her, piecing together. The same puzzle. James Okonkwo sat in his car across from Thomas' fruit stand. He smiled as he watched Zara walking away. James was Victoria's biggest business rival. For years, he had tried to buy land next to Victoria's newest development project, but she always outbid him. Now, his company was failing and he needed that land. "Did you get everything?" James asked the man sitting next to him. The man was a private investigator named Peter. "Yes, sir," Peter said, showing James his camera. "Got pictures of the girl talking to the blind woman, and I overheard some very interesting things." "Tell me," James said, leaning forward. "The blind woman claims to be Victoria Adams' real mother," Peter said, "and the evidence is strong. Same birthday, same name, same time of adoption. The girl seems to believe it." James laughed. "Ha ha! This is perfect. Victoria Adams, the queen of Lagos High Society, daughter of a blind beggar? The press will love this story. Oh my God. What are you going to do with this information?" Peter asked. "First, Victoria, to sell me that land," James said, his eyes cold. "She would do anything to keep the secret." The next day, Victoria found a note on her desk at work. The note said, "I know who your real mother is. Sell me the lakeside property at half price, or everyone will know the truth. You have 2 days to decide." Victoria's hand shook as she read the note. She quickly locked it in her desk drawer. Who could have sent this? And what did they mean about her real mother? That same morning, Zara went back to see Grace. She brought a small cake she had bought with her allowance. "Grace," Zara said after they had eaten some cake, "can I ask you something important?" "Of course, child," Grace said. "The family you left your daughter with, what was their name?" Grace was quiet for a long time. "Adams," she finally said. "They were the Adams family. They had a big house in Ikoyi." Zara's heart raced. This was the final proof she needed. Grace was Victoria's mother. When Zara got home, she found her mother in a strange mood. Victoria was going through an old photo album, something she never did. "Mom," Zara said, "are you okay?" Victoria quickly closed the album. "I'm fine, just looking at old pictures." Zara sat next to her mother on the couch. "Can I see?" Victoria hesitated, then opened the album again. "These are from when I was young, just after the Adams family adopted me." Zara looked at the picture. In the first ones, Victoria was about 5 years old. She looked sad in every photo, even when she was smiling. "You don't look happy," Zara said. "I wasn't," Victoria admitted. "I kept waiting for my real mother to come back for me, but she never did." "Did the Adams family tell you anything about her?" Victoria shook her head. "Just that she left me with them. No explanation. No contact information. Nothing." "What if," Zara started carefully, "what if there was more to the story? What if she tried to come back for you?" Victoria closed the album with a snap. "Why are you asking all these questions, Zara? What's going on?" "Nothing, Mom," Zara said quickly. "I just think everyone deserves a second chance." Victoria stood up. "Not everyone. Some people doesn't deserve forgiveness." As Victoria walked out of the room, Zara noticed a crumpled note on the table. Zara picked it up and read it. Someone was blackmailing her mother about her real mother. But who? The next morning, Grace was walking slowly near Victoria's office building. The scandal about Victoria and her possible connection to a blind beggar was spreading through Lagos like wildfire. Thomas had told Grace about the rumors that morning. "People are saying that rich woman might be your daughter, the one you've been looking for all these years." Grace's blind eyes had widened. "Victoria, that can't be possible. That horrible woman can't be my sweet baby girl." But doubt had crept in. Grace decided to walk to Victoria's office building, not knowing what she would do when she got there. The day was hot, hotter than usual. Grace was tired from walking so far. As she neared the glass building where Victoria's company was located, she began to feel dizzy. "Are you all right, mother?" a security guard asked, seeing her sway. Grace tried to answer, but no words came. The walls spun around her as she collapsed onto the sidewalk. People gathered quickly. Someone called an ambulance. Thomas, who had followed Grace, pushed through the crowd. "Grace!" he shouted, kneeling beside her. "Someone help her!" Inside the building, Victoria was arguing with her PR team about the rumors when her assistant burst in. "Mrs. Adams, there is a situation outside. An old blind woman has collapsed in front of our building." Victoria froze. What does she look like? Thin grey hair, wearing a faded blue dress. Without another word, Victoria ran out of the meeting room. By the time she reached the street, the ambulance was loading Grace inside. "Where are you taking her?" Victoria demanded. "Lagos Central Hospital," the paramedics replied. "Are you family?" Victoria hesitated, then nodded. Yes. At the hospital, doctors rushed around Grace's bed. Victoria watched from behind a glass window, her heart pounding. Was this woman really her mother? The mother she had humiliated so cruelly? Dr. Ekweme approached Victoria in the waiting room. "Are you here for Grace Okafor?" "Yes," Victoria said quietly. "How is she?" "Not good," the doctor said frankly. "She's severely anemic and dehydrated. She needs a blood transfusion immediately." He looked at his chart. "But we have a serious problem. Miss Okafor has an extremely rare blood type. The Bombay blood phenotype is found in less than 1 in 250,000 people." Victoria's knees felt weak. "Bombay phenotype?" "Yes, we are checking our database for possible donors in Lagos, but it will take time." A time she might not have. Victoria's hand went to her throat. "Doctor, I have the Bombay phenotype too." Dr. Ekweme looked shocked. That's incredibly unlikely. Unless," he studied Victoria's face, "unless you are related." "Test my blood," Victoria said firmly. "Right now." While the doctors took blood samples from Victoria, Zara arrived at the hospital. Thomas had called her. "Mom!" Zara was shocked to see Victoria there. "What are you doing here?" "Not now, Zara," Victoria said, watching as nurses rushed around Grace's room. "Mrs. Adams," Dr. Ekweme returned, looking astonished. "Your blood is a perfect match." "But there is more," he hesitated. "We ran a quick DNA comparison because of the rare blood type. Genetic makers show a 99.9% possibility that you are her daughter." Victoria sat down hard on a plastic chair. It was true. All of it was true. "Mom?" Zara asked, confused. "What's going on?" Before Victoria could answer, James Okonkwo walked into the waiting room, a smug smile on his face. Well, he said. The great Victoria Adams, sitting in a public hospital, worried about a beggar? Victoria stood up, her face hard. "What are you doing here, James?" "I came to see if the rumors were true," he said, looking around. "Did you get my notes? Have you decided to sell me the lakeside property?" "You?" Victoria's eyes narrowed. "You sent that blackmail notes?" James smiled. "Business is business, Victoria. Nothing personal. Now, everyone knows your mother is a homeless beggar. Your reputation is ruined." Victoria stepped close to James, her voice deadly quiet. "Listen carefully. That woman in there gave me up because she wanted a better life for me. She lost her sight trying to come back for me. For 40 years, she never stopped looking for me. While I built my empire on anger and resentment." Victoria pointed a finger at James' chest. "If you think I care what people think about my mother being poor, you don't know me at all. My mother has more dignity in her little finger than you have in your entire life." James stepped back, surprised by Victoria's outburst. "Now get out," Victoria continued, "before I call security. And about the lakeside property, I'm doubling the price for you." After James left, Zara stared at her mother in shock. "Is it true? Is Grace really your mother?" Victoria nodded, tears filling her eyes. "Yes, and I treated her like she was nothing." A nurse came out of Grace's room. "Mrs. Adams, we are ready for your blood donation now." Victoria followed the nurse to a room where they prepared her for the transfusion. As her blood flowed through a tube, Victoria thought about how this blood, this rare blood they shared, was bringing them together again after 40 years. 2 hours later, Grace opened her eyes. She couldn't see, but she felt someone holding her hand. "Who is there?" she asked weakly. Victoria swallowed hard. It's Victoria," Grace stiffened. "The woman from the store?" "Yes," Victoria said, her voice breaking. "But also your daughter." Grace's blind eyes widened. Her free hand reached up, trembling. "My Victoria? My baby?" "Yes," Victoria whispered. "It's me." As Victoria leaned over Grace's bed, her eyes fell on the tiny treble clef necklace. She remembered it. It had been in one of the baby photos she used to stare at. Her breath caught. How? How is this possible?" Grace asked, her voice shaking. "My blood saved you," Victoria explained. "We have the same red blood type. The doctors did a DNA test. I'm your daughter, the one you left with the Adams family 40 years ago." Grace's face crumbled. "All these years, you were so close, and I couldn't find you." "I know about the accident," Victoria said. 5 days after you left me, you were hit by a car. You lost your sight." Grace nodded, tears streaming down from her blind eyes. "I was coming back to check on you. I had found a job. Was going to ask if I could visit you on weekends. But then, darkness. When I got out of the hospital, the family had moved. No one will tell me where they are." Victoria was crying now. "The Adams family moved to America for 2 years. When we came back to Lagos, they never told me about you or the note you left. They let me believe you abandoned me because you didn't want me." No, Grace said, her voice breaking. "I wanted you more than anything. Every day since I lost you, I've looked for you, filed reports, asked questions, sang your lullaby in every neighborhood, hoping you might hear me." Victoria's heart felt like it was breaking. All those years of hatred and anger based on a lie. "I'm so sorry," Victoria whispered. "The way I treated you when you bumped into me. I didn't know it was you." "And I didn't know it was you too," Grace said. "My own daughter. We passed each other like strangers." Victoria placed Grace's hand against her face. "We are not strangers anymore, and I promise I will make up for all those lost years." Zara stood in the doorway, watching her mother and grandmother, with tears in her eyes. "I know it," she said. "I knew you were my family." Grace turned towards Zara's voice. "The kind girl, you're my granddaughter." "Yes," Zara said, coming to stand beside the bed. "I'm Zara." "How did you figure it out?" Victoria asked her daughter. "Little things," Zara explained. "The birthday, the name, the timing. And when I saw Grace's photo, something about her eyes reminded me of you, Mom." Victoria looked at Grace with wonder. "My daughter is smarter than I am." She saw what I couldn't see. For the first time in years, Victoria felt something hard inside her begin to soften. The hard shell she had built around her heart was cracking. "Mom," she said to Grace, testing the word, Would you come live with us when you get better?" Grace smiled through her tears. "Is that what you want?" "More than anything," Victoria said, and she meant it. But not everyone was happy about this touching reunion. Outside the hospital room, James Okonkwo watched through the window, his face dark with anger. Victoria had embarrassed him. She had rejected his blackmail, and now she seemed stronger than ever with her family around her. 3 days later, Grace was released from the hospital. Victoria brought her to the mansion, giving her the best guest room on the first floor so she wouldn't have to climb stairs. "Your house is so big," Grace said as Victoria guided her through the rooms. "I can feel the space around me." "Too big maybe," Victoria admitted. "I built it to show everyone how successful I was. Now, it just feels empty." Martha, the housekeeper, was waiting for them in the kitchen. "Welcome home, Mrs. Okafor," she said warmly. "I've made soup for you." "Thank you," Grace said, sniffing the air. "It smells like my mother's pepper soup." Victoria watched as Martha helped Grace to a chair. Martha was being kinder to Grace than Victoria had never been to anyone. It made her feel ashamed. That evening, Victoria's friend came for dinner. They heard the rumors about Victoria's mother and wanted to see for themselves. "Victoria, darling," said Amara, Victoria's oldest friend, "your charity work has gone a bit far this time, oh, hasn't it? Taking in a blind beggar." Victoria stiffened. "Grace is not a charity case, Amara. She's my mother." Amara's eyes widened. "My goodness. The rumors are true then?" "Yes," Victoria said firmly. "My Beth's mother, whom I thought abandoned me, has been looking for me for 40 years. We found each other by chance." "How interesting," said another friend, looking at Grace with barely hidden disgust. After dinner, Victoria overheard Amara whispering to the others, "Poor Victoria. Can you imagine? After all she's done to build her reputation, now she's stuck with a blind beggar for a mother. She will never be taken serious in our circle again." The next day, James Okonkwo called Victoria. "Have you thought about my offer on the lakeside property?" he asked. "I told you, James. I'm not selling to you," Victoria said coldly. "Things have changed," James said. "Your so-called friends are already dropping you, Victoria. Your business partners are nervous. No one wants to be associated with the woman whose mother begs outside the church." That night at dinner, Victoria was quiet. Grace could sense something was wrong. "You are troubled, Victoria," Grace said. "What is it?" Victoria looked at her mother. "My friends, they didn't react well to you being here." Grace nodded slowly. "I understand. I'm not the kind of mother a successful woman like you would want. Maybe I should move back to my room at the church." Grace continued. "It will be easier for you." Victoria wanted to say no, to tell Grace she should stay, but the words stuck in her throat. Part of her, the hard, selfish part, was relieved that Grace had offered to leave. Zara, who listened from the doorway, couldn't hold back any longer. "How can you ever think about letting her go?" she asked her mother angrily. "After everything she's been through, after everything you put her through." "Zara," Grace said, "don't speak to your mother that way." "Why not?" Zara demanded. "She was ready to throw you away again because her rich friends don't like you." Victoria stood up from the table. "That's not true, isn't it?" Zara said. "You care more about what those fake friends of yours think than about your own mother." Grace stood up slowly. "Let me make it easy for you," she said. "I will go back to the church tomorrow." "No," Victoria said suddenly, surprising herself. "No, I don't want you to go. I've lost you once. I won't lose you again." She took Grace's hand. "I'm sorry, I'm not used to caring about someone more than myself." Grace squeezed Victoria's hand. "It takes time to heal old wounds. My daughter, we have time now." But Victoria knew the choice wasn't that simple. Her business partners were already calling and asking questions, demanding meetings. Her empire was in danger. And now she had a choice to make: her wealth and power or her mother. 1 week later, Victoria called a press conference. Everyone in Lagos was talking about Victoria Adams and her blind beggar mother. It was time to address the rumors directly. The conference room at Victoria's company headquarters was packed. Reporters, business partners, and even Victoria's so-called friends filled the seat. James Okonkwo sat in the front row, a smug smile on his face. Victoria stood at the podium, dressed in her most expensive suit. Grace sat in a chair behind her, wearing a new dress that Victoria had bought for her. Zara stood on Grace's other side, holding her grandmother's hand. "Thank you all for coming," Victoria began. "I've called this press conference to address the rumors about my family. The rumors are true. Grace Okafor is my birth mother. 40 years ago, she left me with the Adams family because she couldn't take care of me after my father died. 5 days later, she was hit by a car while trying to come back to check on me. She lost her sight and spent months in the hospital. By the time she recovered, the Adams family have moved away with me." Victoria turned to look at Grace. "I became the kind of person who would humiliate a blind woman on the street without a second thought. You all saw the video. It went viral last week. You saw me throw money at a blind beggar and call her trash. What I didn't know was that that woman was my mother. The same mother who never stopped looking for me, who sang my lullaby in every neighborhood, hoping I might hear her." James shifted uncomfortably in his seat as people turned to look at him. But here is the truth, Victoria continued, her voice growing stronger. I am not ashamed. I am humbled. My mother gave me up out of love, not abandonment. She has more courage and dignity than anyone I've ever met. Today, I'm announcing 2 things. First, I'm changing the name of my company from Adams Enterprise to Okafor Adams Enterprise to honor my true family's name. Second, I'm launching the Grace Okafor's Foundation with an initial donor of 10 million naira. This foundation will support blind and visually impaired people across Nigeria, providing education, training, and health care. Grace turned towards Victoria. I hear it in your voice. You are becoming the person you were always meant to be. Victoria embraced her mother. Tears flowing freely now. Zara joined them, wrapping her arms around both her mother and grandmother. 3 generations of women, broken apart by circumstances, now reunited by love. 2 months later, Victoria stood on a stage at the opening ceremony of the Grace Okafor Center for the Blind. Grace sat beside her, dressed in a beautiful blue gown, the small golden tablecloth necklace shining at her throat. Zara stood on Grace's other side. My mother once taught music, Victoria told the crowd. She believed in the power of song to heal and connect people. Today, we opened this center with a song, the lullaby my mother sang to me when I was a baby. The same lullaby she sang in the street for 40 years, hoping I would hear her. Victoria nodded to the children's choir that had assembled on the stage. The children, all visually impaired, began to sing a sweet, gentle melody. Grace reached for Victoria's hand and squeezed it gently. She couldn't see her daughter's face, but she could feel the change in her. Are you happy, my daughter? Grace whispered. Victoria looked at her mother, then at Zara, then at the children singing on stage. For the first time in her life, she felt truly rich. Yes, mother, Victoria said. I'm the richest woman in Lagos, but not because of my money, Grace smiled, understanding completely. The 2 women stood hand in hand, listening to the lullaby that had finally brought them back together. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to share this story with your family and your friends whom I love to see them. Till I see you again in my next story. Goodbye.